Good afternoon to all. In our last class, what is the discussion we went on? In the last class, can anyone regain the subject which we discussed in our last class? So we discussed about what is the meaning of research and definition of the research, and similarly objectives and motivations. I hope the motivations is also completed. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now to discuss about what research is not to be. So is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So see this one. What research is not to be? That means few researchers, if you observe that it was just gathering the information and processing that information. Like that gathering is also not following a systematic process, or it was not designed. Whatever the data that was available in general books or magazines, they are going to collect that gather, and that means we may not favor the whatever the result, whatever that information that was publishing in the books or magazines. Yeah, is it the screen visible? What research is not?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yes, sir. Visible.
So we should not completely dependent on that books or magazines. So if it was familiar or if it was well established, then we can follow. Other than that, if you see, if you follow that gathering of information from any local bodies or from any local journals, it will be worthless. And whatever you do with that information is also cannot be treated as a research work. Okay. That means if you see an example as per your MTech guidelines, so you have to publish a publication, a journal paper. So while going to the journal paper, there is a several divisions in that one also. Why? Because it was a topic on books and magazines. That was I was going to discuss about this. So in that one, there is a categories like Scopus Index, UGC list, or UGC indexed, like that. So you have to publish, or according to our in JNTUA guidelines, it was compulsory to publish either in UGC referred journals or Scopus indexed journals only. Why? Because those are under a systematic, those journals or whatever the magazines or books was following a systematic procedure in evaluating the data whichever you gathered and make it in a paper form or in a thesis form. Those will be properly scrutinized. That means if it was not properly scrutinized, then it was a worthless to take that type of data. Okay, and it will no contribution to the new knowledge is also not treated as a research work. So if you see this no contribution to new knowledge, that means nothing but if some X person did a replacement levels of ash particles. Oh, you are from computer structures, no problem. If an X person do a research work on a replacement levels of fly ash with an interval of 5% up to 30%, then the another person doing a same research work with a replacement levels of 10% and only up to 30%, then what may be the difference? Is there any difference? So please response. If X person do a research work on replacement of cement with OPC with an interval of 5% and a maximum of 30%, and Y person did an experiment with an interval of 10% and a maximum level of 30%. What may be the new thing in this two? What may be the new thing? Yes, please respond. What may be the new thing? What makes this one into a new one? So if you apply which principle or if you apply which methodology to this both projects, that will make you a new thing. Okay, let us discuss as a computer structural engineering students itself. So one of your students was designed a building of G plus 10 story, and another person designed a story of G plus 20 stories. What may be the new thing, or what may is the main differences between these two? What is the differences between these two, G plus 10 and G plus 20 design? Yes,
అడిషనల్ అమౌంట్స్ ఎక్కువ అవుతాయి సార్.
additional.
విండ్ స్ట్రెస్ కానీ లోడ్స్ కానీ అన్ని కొంచెం డబుల్ అవుతాయి సార్. అండ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా థింగ్స్ కూడా యాడ్ అవుతాయి సార్.
ఏమేమి యాడ్ అవుతాయి?
మామూలుగా G+10 అయితే మనం విండ్ ప్రెజర్ అంత తీసుకోం సార్. బట్ G+20 మోర్ దాన్ 10 ఫ్లోర్స్ అయితే మనం విండ్ ప్రెజర్ కూడా తీసుకోవాల్సి వస్తుంది సార్.
Hope you have to consider one thing here. I think according to my knowledge, it was not based upon number of stories. It was not based upon number of stories. It was based upon height, I think. Is there anyone having
Okay,
explanation? I think it was based upon height. Why? Because nowadays the buildings may not following a basic principles. So if you see like 2.8 meters is the height to be provided for each story. Then what happens if they produce 2.5? The last story for 10 stories it will be 27 meters. But if in the same building, in the same height, they can produce 11 stories. If it was 2.5, they can't, or is it able to produce? So are you understanding my doubt? So actually a building has to be constructed with a 10 story with a minimum height of 2.8 per floor. But if the contractor was reduced the height of the building or height of the story to 2.5, is it able to construct the 11th floor on the same height or not? Yes? Is it able to construct on the same height or not? Yes, please respond. Yes, Sesi Kumar. Nandakishore. Sai Vinay.
Sir, చెప్పండి సార్.
So my doubt is a building was going to be constructed with 10 stories. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
With a minimum story floor height was 2.8 meters.
Yes,
If
sir.
the floor height was reduced to 2.5 meters, how many stories
Yes,
can
sir.
be constructed?
Then one story will be increases now, sir.
Yeah.
At the
Then-
place of 10 stories, when we reduce the height of each story, we can provide another story of another flat. Another story, sir.
Of a same height.
We can increase the number.
Of a same height. Of a same
Yes, sir.
20 meters. Then,
Yes,
if
sir.
you want to calculate the wind forces, is it based upon the height of the building or number of stores?
Based on the height of the building, sir.
Yeah, height of the building only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
Sir, if the number of stories are increases, then additional slab is also provided, no, sir.
yeah, dead load also increases.
Yes, sir. Then the footing design is also changes, no.
Yes.
There may be difference in
Change may be only in persons of either width and depth. Is it only? Only width and depth will changes. Is there any new thing in
Yeah.
that?
No, sir. No, sir. That's it. That's it. One. That's one.
These are directly proportional thing. So my question is,
Yes, sir.
what is the new in between 10 floors and 20 floors? In a design of a 10 story building and a 20-story building, what is the new thing? That was my question. I hope this question was
Exactly. I don't know, sir.
You may think. So father made attempt that there may be height variation and which varies the wind forces. Okay. So those are all
Yes, sir.
direct proportionals actually. whatever. Why? Because if you want to construct more stories, the height should be increased. It was a directly proportional. And if you want to bear more strength, inversely, you have to proportionate the bearing capacity, which is nothing but changing the foundation dimensions. Okay, but you are using
Yes,
the same
sir.
material. But you are using the same material.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then if you think like this, for 20 stories, you are going to increase. Are you going to double it? The foundation capacity. That means the whatever the geometrical dimensions. Are you going to double?
No, sir.
No. So it was proportional. Okay. Inverse proportional. Why? Because based upon the design, it may changes. Even if you go for 100-story also, is there any change in the materials?
No, sir. Material is not changed, sir.
Yeah. Only geometrical dimensions will change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then that change of the geometrical dimensions is the new thing in the project. Is it the new thing in that
No,
project?
sir.
No.
No,
Then,
sir. No, sir.
then what may be the new thing in that research work, in that project? That why? Because as a case students, you may be at the semester end, you are going to pick up a project. So at that time, what may you adopt? So one adopt G plus 10 and one another adopt G plus 20. What is the new thing in that? Why? Because I have to tell you that what research is not to be. That's why I am asking. So if I raise it this question, at least at the end of this semester, you may think this may not be a research work. So getting a degree is another way. But if you want to do a right and ethical research work, then you have to think in this way. So what may be the new thing? So anyone made an attempt? What can be changed in this one? There is a chance of getting change other than the geometrical dimensions. Yes, Kader, can you make another attempt? What can be changed?
Thinking, sir.
Yeah. Footings. Yes, Kader, please speak out. What can you attempt? Just go for a guess. No problem. Yes, Srilata, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What can you suggest a change to feel it as a new one?
I don't know, sir.
Is there any one capable or regularly practicing STAD or any other designing softwares?
CAD, sir.
CAD. So in that CAD, we are only allowed to plan, not a design. I'm asking anything design softwares. So don't know. Okay, no problem. So Kader, let me know. So the height will increases and automatically that we can't change the height. Why? Because number of floor increasing means we can't decrease less than 2.5 meters according to our Indian standards. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But is there any chances to decrease the load coming on that? Why? Because these two will changes. Uh, Wind load, live load, and dead load. These are the changes mainly. We can't having a capacity to change the wind. So that what about the dead load? Why? Because live load is also not in under control. It varies. So here only chance was to optimize the dead load. May I correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only chance to modify in that building? So according to my knowledge, I think there is a no chance to reduce the height less than 2.5 meters as it was in Indian standards. And second thing, we are live load was not also in our control. Why? Because the movement of men and machinery maybe changes. Okay. And if you see this dead load, how can we change the dead load? So optimization of dead load is possible. So anyone from the class, how can we change that?
Changes in materials, sir.
Changes in materials. So in your design part, FCK means you are giving a standard concrete strength. Okay. You are only applying FCK in the design or not?
Yes, sir. FCK and FI also, no, sir.
Yeah. So there you are not going to change the strength of the concrete. Why? Because you have to attain the same strength with less weight. Are you understanding? We have to
Yes,
attain
sir.
the same strength at less weight. So how can it possible? Is it possible to include in that project, in your project? And is it possible? So here you are going to density of concrete. Yes, yes. Yes, who is
Sir,
this?
there is a U technology is there, no, sir? We can use it.
Yeah. You?
U technology, sir. Instead of tensile zone, there is no use of concrete, no, sir. At the tensile zone, we are placing a plastic-like material. It will reduce the dead weight, dead load of the building, sir.
Yeah, dummies. Okay. But the
Yes,
thing
sir.
is, how can you apply in the project? You know that there is a choice. How you can apply in this research work? That means your PG project. How you are going to apply that?
Okay, sir. Okay.
How you are going to apply? How you are going to apply means nothing but here FCK you are giving same 20 Newton per mm square. Let us get an example. And whatever you are going to give the density, is there any chance to give the density in your stat? Density of the concrete. How they are going to calculate the dead load?
Area into density, sir.
Yeah, their density is your input or it was already prefixed?
Input, sir.
Yeah,
Input, sir.
input. Then if
It's
you
default.
change that density of concrete by using the lightweight concretes, is the dead load decreases or increases?
Decreases, sir.
Decreases automatically. Then whatever the steel requirements, so is also going to decrease or not? Steel.
Depends on the design, no, sir.
Yeah, depends on the design itself. Here, the main factors which influence the design was loads. These three types of loads. If you reduce one load, how it was going to influence?
Yes, sir. So we can reduce the steel also, sir.
Steel also, so that we can prepare economical sections also. But while applying that lightweight concrete density, you have to be in a position that whether it was going to be withstandable or not, how far it was going to be durable, all this basic knowledge should be acquired by you. Then only you will be allowed to do the research work. Why? Because this may be some new thing. Getting the decrease in the dead load was not the new thing actually, but what material you are going to use to decrease the dead load was again a new thing. Why? Because already some ex-person may done this type of research work by using lightweight concrete in place of traditional concrete. Here in your research, you may suggest the new technology of at least in that lightweight aggregate. Why? Because in that lightweight concretes, we may produce different various types of lightweight concretes. Hope you know that in your UG level, various types of lightweight aggregates are there, by which we can produce various types of lightweight concretes also. So whatever that Sai Vinay told, that there is another techniques also. Those all are to be included in the design, not simply entering the data and feeling that it has a new technology. Why? Because you are very well known that STAAD was a long back it was discovered, and a lot of people was doing that. So if you want to think in a manner in such that where is the chance? So I hope all of you in your UG life done the projects on the mainly on the designs itself. Is it right? So what is
Yes,
your
sir.
design, Sai Vinay? What is your project
Sir?
in your UG?
A fiber reinforced concrete, sir.
So what you did?
Yes, sir. Different type of fibers you are using there, no, sir.
Yeah. Which type of fiber?
Like as a cheapest material, sir. Core, sir. I mean,
Coconut core. Rubber core.
steel strips.
Steel.
Yes, steel strips, sir. Like as binding wire.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that type of material, sir. Yes.
Okay, Saivina. Is there anyone from the design part who did their project in UZ? Anyone?
No, sir.
I'm asking to the remaining class. Yes, Charan Kumar, what is your project? Akhilesh.
Sir,
Akhilesh,
my part
Chapan Charan. What is your
stand
sand replacement
by glass, sir, concrete.
by glass? Okay. Agleshwar, what is yours?
గుర్తులేదు సార్ 4 years అయిపోయింది చేసి
Srilata, what is yours?
Sir, pavement design, sir.
Okay. So like this, okay, something, whatever you made, it should be some new pattern should be there. Okay. And if you see the second thing, research is not the transportation of facts. That means transporting facts from one resource to another, which does not constitute a research. Okay. And no contribution to new knowledge. Also, this may be existing knowledge more accessible also. Okay. And next thing, significance of the research. So whatever the progress which was born based upon the inquiry and which will encapsulate the scientific and investigate the thinking will be the maximum need of this significance. That means whatever you are going to do this research, it should not be lead to any other controversies also. Okay. So research has a special significance in solving various operational and planning problems of business and industries. Okay. And if you go to the next topic, you are according to your syllabus, it will be the types of research. So if you see these types of research, there was various types of researches like theoretical research, fundamental research, applied research. So these are the basic classification. So this may be, you can observe this thing in your textbook which I supplied to you also. So if you see this theoretical research, which is a descriptive one, which includes surveys and fact-finding inquiries of various kinds of materials or methodologies and other things. And if you see the fundamental research, which is mainly concerned with generalization and the formulation of a theory, that means basic theories, which was already established, and few people was working on the same basic theories. Is there any betterment to do? That will comes under this type of fundamental research. And similarly, if you go for the applied research, which was going to aim at finding a solution for an immediate problem facing by the society or an industrial or any other business organization. So if you have any examples of this type of theoretical, fundamental and applied research, any examples did you have based upon the definition or based upon the understanding by you? Yes? Anyone can raise your voice. What may be an example of any of the three? If you have properly understand, then you can give an example. So theoretical means survey, fact-finding inquiries, and the fundamental means based upon the formulation of a theory, and the applied research is going on to the an application to the problem solving techniques. So anyone having an idea on these areas, this may be done, this type of research may be done. Anyone? Yes, Mr. Stravia.
Yes, sir.
Did you have any idea about these three theoretical
Yes,
research
sir. Yeah.
may be done there?
Yes, sir.
Which, yeah.
If we look into theoretical research means about the existed matters, sir. About the existed information. For
Yeah.
like if we have to do a survey, we have to get the information about the preliminary things and detailed things.
Okay. What about the two remaining two?
And again about fundamental research means it may be related to the mathematical ways.
Okay. Okay, I will explain the three with the same content now. So if you see the theoretical research, so I can take a live example. What may be the live example of today's problem facing? It was all about COVID-19. Is it right? Hope you are all also facing the problem of COVID-19. So let us take an example of that thing, COVID-19. So how can we make it as all the three with the same problem? So if you see, so is it surveys included in this problem solving? Here the problem is nothing but COVID. Is it the survey included? Is it the survey included in this COVID-19 problem solving methodology? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. How? What is the survey they are going to do?
So they already done, sir. They divided the zones also, sir.
Yeah.
By doing this type of research.
Various. And what is the fact they are finding based upon the inquiries? So how many people are there and how many was affected and how many is this all the gathering of information is or not by doing a proper like fever surveys and all the thing also. They are getting a fact or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So is it comes under the theoretical research or not? So what they are going to do with the surveys and whatever the fact they find it during the inquiries, what they are going to do, they are getting a way to solve that solution. That means by that surveys and by that fact finding inquiries based upon the position of spreading of this COVID, they may divide it into zones and that you may know that few areas was completely made with a curfew and few was lifted. Why? Because due to these surveys and fact finding inquiries only. If they think based upon the survey, based upon the data they got from the surveys and the fact finding inquiries, they may continue it. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible or not? Is it possible by that theoretical research? And now you are going to the second thing. Now I hope someone can explain the same for the second thing. Anyone? Yes, Emmanuel. Emmanuel. No, he was not there. Lavanya? Not there. Yes, Kadir, here. Back to you again.
Sir,
So how can this second one?
applications of
Fundamental
zones only fundamental research, sir.
Yeah,
By
yeah.
collecting the application of zones only the fundamental research, sir. I think. First, we had collected in which areas the high cases are noted and which areas are not noted. Then, by this analysis, we divided the zones, sir. This is the red zone and this is green zone, this is orange zone, like that, way, sir.
Yeah. So it was an application of that theoretical research, Kadir. And if you see this fundamental research was mainly concerned with generalization and with the formulation of a theory. So that means this one was not made by the same person who was doing the theoretical research. Based upon that theoretical research, whatever you are telling, that fixing of the zones was not the final fundamental research. So here the fundamental research means based upon the, I think you know, Kader, what is the variations in this COVID-19? Is it a single bacteria or variables?
Sir, different three types, I think, sir.
Different variants are there, na? So
Yes, sir.
how can we are getting that, identifying that variants? So based upon the surveys which they did, and the sample collectors will go and check on that what is the variations in that bacteria or virus. So that was the basic theory. That was the fundamental theory. So this one, that one may be done by the persons of a different organization, that may be of NGOs or any other non-technical persons. But when you comes to this one, fundamental research by formulation of a theory, they may go on discussing about how to form the zone, whichever you told you. Okay, and how can we abstract that? Okay, and if you go for the last one, applied research, what may be this? How you are going to apply a research to finding a solution?
By the implementation, the results we got,
Yeah.
by
So
that we had
what is the solution here? What is the solution? Is the solution getting by making a zones only?
no,
Is
sir.
the
Number of cases noted, sir, after
Yeah.
application.
This is the fundamental one, and you are going to test up and you are going to giving it medicine. Na? That how you are getting that medicine? How you are getting a medicine for this? Is it a old thing or a new one?
Whole thing only, sir.
Old thing. So that was a old theory actually. But here you are applying the old theory, which is nothing but vaccination is a old theory. But you are formulating a new medicine. Is it correct? Vaccination is a old theory, but you are formulating a new combination or not?
New formulation.
New
Yes,
formulation.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was the solution. Based upon this applied research, application of that research was the different thing. That means these three will be thinking in a different manner, but the same will be interconnected in one and all to help the society. Is it right or wrong?
Right, sir.
What about the remaining class? What is your feeling? This is my opinion. Yeah, Rahul, what is your opinion? Maybe not responding. Okay. And if you see the next conceptual and empirical research, which was related to some abstract ideas or theory, which was generally used by philosophers and thinkers to develop new concepts or to reinterpret the existing ones. It is empirical research relies on experiences or observation, often without due regard of the system and theory. It is a database one, empirical research. And if you see the research methodology, so it is a way. So up to now we discussed about research, and there is a slight difference between research and the research methodology. Okay, please notice that there is a slight difference between research and research methodology. Okay, if you see this research methodology, it is a way to systematically solve the research problem. It may be understood as a science of studying how research is done scientifically and went to the various steps. If you see, these are the various steps, and it was broadly divided as a quantitative and qualitative research work. So where the quantitative research is based on the measurement of quantity or amount, or and if you go for the qualitative research, it was concerned with the qualitative phenomena, which was mainly related to the quality of the work. And if you see the simulation research, which is depending upon the environment, and the diagnostic research is also. And if you see, these are the steps which was involved in the research methodology. So what is the first step here? What is the first step? So please be careful there. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Tell me. Yes, tell me.
Formulating the research problems.
Yeah. So that means when you are going to step up to do a research, the formulation of that research problem is a very important thing. That's why it stands first. So if you are not formulated that research problem in a proper way, then you can't end up. That means you have to identify the problem in a right manner. That means whatever the formulation, what is meant by the formulating? Yes, anyone having an idea of formulating?
Process, sir.
Process, yeah. So that thing should be in a proper way. Okay. So I will explain. This may not complete in 10 minutes. So I will explain in the next class about this. Okay. So if you have any doubts up to now, you can ask. Otherwise, you can leave.
No doubts.
Okay, you can leave. All of you, please leave so that I can stop and stop the recording and